Welcome back to my channel. I'm Sonnet, the owner and creator behind Sonnet's Garden Blooms, and in today's video, I am taking 5 items I recently thrifted and I am transforming them for antique acres. If you haven't heard, May 17th and 18th, I will be at Antique Acres. It's one of the big shows that I attend each year, and I have officially started the prepping and preparing for the show. So I plan on taking you guys along for that whole event and everything leading up to it. So it officially starts today. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of the 5 items that I flipped in today's video. For our first project today, I found this crock while I was out thrifting. It was actually at Goodwill for $1.99. It must have been at a different thrift store though for $2.49. So on the bottom, somebody in marker put $2.49. I grabbed it for $1.99 and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. When I was brainstorming and I saw this transfer set, I knew right away I was going to use a transfer on the crock. I just felt it was a bit plain, you guys. I loved it, but definitely too plain. I also thought maybe put a Croc stamp on it, but that's definitely been done before. So I went inside this transfer and I found this beautiful rose. Now keep in mind, you can add a transfer to this crock. It is not going to ruin it. You can remove it if you ever want to by just using your heat gun and heating up that transfer. Now, when you're working on a rounded surface like this and it's not flat, you will want to use something to hold your piece in place. It has been recommended that I buy a bag of beans, and that is a great idea. I definitely need to add that to my grocery list, but I keep forgetting, so I better do it now. Now that I have that on my grocery list for the next time I have a project like this, let's continue on. So there is a lip on this crock, and when you lay down your transfer, the key to any surface that is not entirely flat is you want to first get under the lip, and then you want to take your transfer and put it over the lip. So it actually looks like it is part of that entire crock. And then what I recommend is after you get that done, start on one side, start rubbing, then lift that transfer sheet back a little bit and keep rubbing. If at any point you don't get a piece of that transfer off, just lay it right back down, rub again, and the transfer will go right in place. Now, as you work your way around, you're just going to keep on doing that. Once you have the transfer completely off, I do take a piece of that backing and I rub it all over that transfer, and that is called burnishing. You really want to embed that transfer or get it as best as you can on your piece before you seal it. If you want to add a bit more protection to your transfer and the piece, you can add Big Top, and I would just add one even layer to it, and that will give it an added protection. For project 2, when I was thrifting and I saw this in the bins, you guys, I was so excited. I loved the shape of this. I mean, it's so cool. I was not too keen on what they did to the frame, and there was a bunch of writing. If you've worked with the chalkboards before, it's real hard to get that writing off. So I have a fix for both the frame and that writing. For starters, we're going to tackle the frame. I'm using Anvil, and this is one of the new cottage colors by DIY, and it is curated by Jamie Ray Vintage. If you're not familiar with the cottage colors, it is their built-in one-step paint, so it has a top coat built in, and I do recommend always giving it a good stir every so often. You just want to keep everything mixed really well. For this project, I applied 2 even coats to the entire frame. I initially thought I was going to get away with 1 coat because DIY paint is heavily pigmented, and with this being a darker color, I thought for sure that I was going to get away with 1 coat. You want to make sure your coats are not too thick. You want a nice, just even coat, and then it's better to apply several coats than thicker coats. So as I'm applying this, you can see those white dots are still popping through just a little bit here and there. So after this dried, I went back, I added a second coat, and I had perfect coverage. On a recent live, I used this same paint, Anvil, on a silver platter. And I have to tell you guys, I was a little worried once everyone started saying, you didn't prep it, you're just adding it directly on the silver platter. And yes, I did. I went all in. I added 2 even coats to the silver platter. I let it dry in between coats, and then the next day I came back and I did a scratch test, you guys, and it held up. It did not scratch. So this paint is so durable. Once it dries and cures, it's going to be on your piece. After the frame was painted and dry, I am now tackling the chalkboard. I'm using white linen, which is one of the original DIY cottage colors, and I am first starting by cutting in around the edges. I just want a really nice crisp line around the edges, and then I'm going to go in with a larger brush and tackle the inside. After I had the first coat down, I realized I probably should have started with Salvation Solution in white, applied 1 coat of that, and then gone in and applied the white linen. There was a lot of bleed through from all that writing. It just, the writing was definitely an issue. I ended up having to paint 3 even coats of white linen on here to get complete coverage because that writing was horrific. Here is where the frame and the chalkboard are at this point, and now you guys can hear what my vision is. So I had a bunch of this transfer left over. I have been working through it, trying to figure out different projects I can use it on. And for starters, I am going to put Market down the center, and then I'm going to start layering some of the other text on top and on bottom to create a really unique sign. Now that Market is down the center, I am going to just start taking chunks of this transfer and just trying to figure out, yes, it's all in. I think a lot of it is in French, so I don't even know what it says, but I am like, oh, this kind of looks like it's a flower. I think that says flower, and it could be a flower market. So I grabbed that chunk and I started adding that. Then I went back, grabbed another chunk, and I just started layering, like I said, down. I just kept adding below, and then I started adding above, and I just kept on grabbing chunks that look like they went together. This transfer set was an oldie but a goodie. It was actually one of the first tube sets that I ever found or got my hands on. So if you are new to IOD, IOD used to ship out all their transfers on one big sheet in a tube. And I am so thankful, though, you guys, that they decided to create the packets that they do now. It is so easy now to really work with them. Not that the tubes were just a little bit more difficult from what, this is the first time that I'm actually breaking into one and really playing around with it. And it's hard to keep it all together, at least when they're flat and you can keep them all together. It's so much easier. You guys, I love this sign, and I always say I can't keep everything, but I really want to keep this. I love the shape of it. I think it looks so fun. I love how it says market, but my daughter always reminds me, Mom, you can't keep everything. The final step is I'm using Big Top to completely seal the transfer, and then this sign will be complete. I apply just one even coat of Big Top to the entire piece, and like I said earlier, I absolutely love how this sign turned out. For project 3, I actually thrifted this at St. Vinny's, and what really caught my eye was this little turquoise handle, you guys. I just love that little vintage touch, and at first I was going to just put it in my booth or bring it to Antique Acres as is. And then I thought I want to add just something to it. It was a bit plain, and what I decided was to add a transfer. So I'm using Lover of Flowers, which is the new IOD transfer, and there's so many beautiful botanicals in here. I was looking for something with that turquoise in it, and I decided this one with little forget-me-nots on here was going to be perfect. I lined it all up and I laid down my transfer, and there is a lip right in the center of this metal container, and normally it's pretty easy. I lay it down, I start working the transfer down below that lip and then work it over that lip. This actually gave me a bit of grief. Even though the transfer did not turn out perfect, it is okay. I love to embrace the imperfections of a piece, and sometimes when you're using transfers or using different like paint inlays, it doesn't always come out absolutely perfect, but nothing is perfect. So I'm embracing how the transfer looks. I actually like it. It really fits with the whole vintage feel of the sifter. And there was a couple areas where when I'm laying the transfer down, it popped up. I just reline it up, I lay it back down, and in the end, I really love how this turned out. For project 4, I found this old vintage binocular case while I was out thrifting. What caught my eye was that it was real leather. I loved how the compass was embedded in the top, but you guys, it was in rough shape. I mean, it was slightly falling apart. The strap was broke off, but I am ready to embrace these imperfections. First off, I am taking Titebond and I am going to try to fix the edging here. So I'm just adding a bit of Titebond to it. I am going to then take some blue tape and hold it in place while this all dries. I am using that transfer that just never ends. I love it, but you guys, I have used this transfer on so many pieces. I definitely, if I would have bought this and not received it for free, I would have definitely got my money's worth out of it. There is so many uses for it. It's just crazy. So with this one, I saw that it had like entomology, it said butterflies, and I could see myself looking possibly through my binoculars at butterflies or for entomology, really probably birds. But anyways, I thought it was a good fit. So I am adding a bit of this transfer to the very front, and then I am going to add a little bit on the top. For my fifth and final project, anytime I'm out thrifting, you guys, and I see a piece of enamelware, I am grabbing it. Even just the tops. There are so many uses for all the pieces. I love these black pieces. I also love the white with the red, the tan with the green, you name it, I'm thrifting it. So this piece, my vision is I'm going to clean it up really thoroughly, and then we're going to add a piece of transfer to the top. You guys, this transfer called Lover of Flowers is by far one of my new favorites. I love how there's different sayings in here, a ton of different botanicals, and this one caught my eye right away. So I thought this would be a perfect fit just to kind of go like swoop around the entire top of this lid. After trimming it all back, I'm trying to position it so I know exactly where I want it to land once I pull the backing off. I finally determined I am going to position the lid like this, and this is how I want the transfer on. So I peel the back off, I lay it down, and then I again just start working, especially around where there's a lip. I start there first, and I am going to really get into that lip so that that transfer fits in there like it was actually meant or built into the top. And then I just work my way. I start on one side and I work my way around, and this was an easy transformation. And really in today's video, that's what I'm trying to really get across, that sometimes upcycles or transformations do not need to be extremely elaborate. They can be as easy as just adding a transfer to a piece, and how easy it can, transform something that was really tossed to the wayside, and now you give it new life. The final step is we're using Big Top to completely seal your transfer. I'm applying one even coat over the entire piece and letting it dry, and then this project will be complete. I love how this turned out, and I think it will look absolutely perfect in a kitchen. Can you guys believe Antique Acres is right around the corner? I can't. May 17th and 18th, I feel like it just happened yesterday. I feel like we were just going through the prepping and preparing for it. But it is going to be here before we know it. So I know that I did say last week during my Monday Night Live, we were going to officially kick off my first furniture piece. I have to cancel my live. My daughter has a softball game tonight. We're thinking it's a makeup game. I'm not 100%. I didn't know about it until this morning. So I am not missing a game. My baby's only little once, so I hope you guys all understand. But you are gonna see me on Wednesday at 10 o'clock Central Time for my live. So I won't miss that one. But Friday, I am heading down to Jane Belante's retreat. I'm hosting a workshop for her retreat, and it runs from Thursday to Sunday. So I will not be live on Friday either. So again, I apologize. This week is going to be kind of wonky, but you'll have me on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to the retreat. I'll definitely have a lot of footage, a lot of pictures, all that good stuff from the retreat. On the way down, you guys, I am swinging by Jen Dunn's shop, which is Rustic Rehabs. And if you haven't heard, she is going to be part of my October event. The October event, I am going to be giving you guys a whole lot more information real soon, just wrapping up some loose ends, and it is ready to officially kick off. We have all the creators lined up, and let me tell you, you are not going to want to miss this one. There are so many amazing creators that are going to be part of this 3-day event. And yeah, I cannot wait to give you all the details. So just be watching for all those details coming real soon. I will actually have an entire page dedicated just for that event. And as soon as that page is up, you guys can start purchasing your tickets. Now, the last thing I want to mention is my Makers Box. I want to let you guys all know that I've officially kicked off my waitlist for it. If you don't know what the Makers Box is, I'll have it in the description below. But basically, it is a monthly subscription box full of all DIY supplies, exclusive to my box as well. So I'm super excited to kick that off, to get on that waitlist, you guys, because you will get early bird access. I am officially opening it on May 28th to the public. Anybody on that wait list will have first dibs on May 27th. Again, something I'm super excited about kicking off, the Makers Box. If you want more details, it's in the description. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I cannot wait to see you guys on Friday. Bye.